Because you know why?
Why?
Because it feels right.
It feels right.
Legendary. Press that button.
We went to we played pickleball. You know, again, love him or hate him for his politics or whatever. We're, you know, a bunch of us are in town for. Sorry, I sound so nasally. My allergies are off the charts. But there's 8 pros in town in Nashville for a Make-A-Wish Foundation event, and we did a little pickleball at Kid Rock's house and had a little welcome dinner, and then. That was a couple nights ago. And then last night we did the Celeb Pro exhibition, and we had, it was John Christ, who I actually went to college with and grew up playing tennis with, was commentating with Chad Edwards. And then we had Eric Decker, former NFL wide receiver.
Yeah.
His wife was there. Lovely people. Bobby Bones, who runs a country, he's a host of a country radio show. Yeah.
I'm not in tune with the country, so I don't know who he is, but
yeah, so it's a lot of country. Guy Morgan Evans, Australian country music artist, really nice guy. Philip Phillips, who has been in the pickleball scene a while, came in town for it.
Must
really
be
nice guy.
That's a popular name in Australia.
Well, Morgan Evans, yeah. There were a lot of jokes about that last night. They were playing.
I have no doubt.
Especially with Chad Edwards, right? He's just
of course.
He's going to keep going with it.
Oh, Chadwick! I tell you what, you get a cocktail or two in Chad. His volume rises and his talking rises. It's pretty fun sometimes.
And his Australian accent gets thicker.
Yeah. Oh yeah, thicker for sure. I still miss the days of the Florida Grand Slam Simone, where he was running the tournament and he would just be Stone and Ba, court 3, Stone and Ba.
Like, who?
It's like, who? Ba? There's an R there, buddy. Come on. So Robert, sounds like we have a guest that's going to join us today. Tell us a little bit about that.
We do have a guest. We've talked about him before on this podcast, and typically in relation to the name of his podcast, which I just find very endearing, which is the Tennis Sucks podcast.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, we're gonna have Travis the Rattlesnake Rettenmaier on in a little bit. When he messaged me, he was like, might be a little late, gonna go running to Starbucks and then to get some breakfast for the little one. So speaking of the devil, let's just go ahead and add him to the stream right now. Travis Rettenmaier.
Oh, Travis the Rattlesnake Rettenmaier, just capturing bronze.
Disheveled.
Yes, just capturing bronze with Steve the Canadian Beaver Deakin, who used to play with Dave the Badger Weinbach. We got animals everywhere here. Let's rock and roll.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I had a baby 3 days ago. I know you know
did
about
you really?
that.
Holy
yes,
shit,
I did.
Man, congratulations.
So I'm a little swollen.
I knew it was coming, but
yes, a little unshaved, a little unkept, but that's okay. I know you know all about that, Travis.
yeah, like 3 years, you'll finally look decent again.
Fair enough. I'm looking forward to that day. Yes.
For you, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, Adam,
Thank
I
you.
just gotta go public with that, I guess. So it could,
Appreciate
congrats.
it. You know, we got.
And it was a little girl or a little boy?
Little boy, and
boy.
we struggled with the name. I kind of feel like Stone is a high floor, low ceiling. Like nothing sounds terrible, but nothing sounds great either. So we just
very
went.
good name.
We just went with. We're gonna go with Adam Jr. and we're gonna call him AJ.
Holy shit.
There we go. So
Okay.
AJ Kohler. I already messaged AJ Kohler, so he's very proud.
God,
All right,
a
Junior.
little mini Adam running around this
Oh,
world.
God.
Good God.
Lord above. Lord above. We're in trouble.
You didn't go with Greg Dow's recommendation of Mark. He was really stoked
Right.
on Mark.
Yeah, he was like, name a mark that is not responsible. And he challenged me to do that, and I couldn't do it. Every mark that I've ever known has been a pretty legit guy. So there you go.
think we have
not mine. I got a mark right away.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Jail, lot of problems.
I feel like the people you know, Travis, are probably different than the people I know.
Yes.
It's probably very true, yeah.
Yeah. So what's your Starbucks order, Travis?
Basic, man. I'm a pike, splash a half and half. That's it.
Oh, just
Love
clean. Go venti or you go grande? What do you do?
Go grande. Usually just a tall because I don't grit through it. I just need like the first 10 sips to get me feeling like I'm starting the day.
God, it's inspiring.
Okay,
But
so
today I have more time, so I went grande. I got
There you
the
go.
big boy.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
and you're
let's
on a podcast.
Yeah, let's knock out a couple questions we have to talk about, and then let's get into some good stuff here. So first off, just kind of we have to talk about Jack Sock. He had his debut in North Carolina. You saw some firsthand. I don't believe you played him, but were you able to play any rec, or have you been on the court with him at all?
Yeah, so the first day that I got there on Tuesday, he set up a private game right by his house. So I went out and played with him. Guy's really good. I mean, no doubt about it, you know. Yeah. But it was funny, like what a lot of people don't know is the guys that he and Tyson lost to first round are two buddies of his that live with him like 10 miles.
Oh, yeah.
So when we went to the rec game, those two guys were there. I didn't know who they were. But I was like, oh, shit, these guys are good. You know, these random guys that I've never seen before are good. But in a sense, it felt like they were there to practice like for Jack to ensure that he gets ready for this. You know, they have normal jobs and they're relatively normal guys. And so I think that it screwed him over. Like, I think if you had asked him what one team do you not want to play, it would be that team because they had such a good read on it. They were dinking cross, and then this one guy, Dobrin, would just poke it up the line at Tyson every time. And, you know, he had no fear of the Tyson roll inside out or anything like that. Like, he knew it was coming.
Yeah, no, I know those guys. They're from Charlotte because I'm in Raleigh. So I've played that Dobrin guy has come and played, and I've played him a few times. Right. And I mean, he's not, you know, someone that's challenging for medals every weekend, but the dude's not bad.
No, they're good, dude. And the other guy resets like a monster.
Yeah, he can play.
The game is solid. Yeah, they're good. They're good players.
So that is a very interesting situation. That's what do we have, a 32 draw? That's the team he does not want to play, who has, you know, seen him in action and kind of seen some of the tricks that he has. So a little bit of bad luck there. But at the same time, from what I saw, the dude moves like a gazelle. His court coverage is ridiculous. And mixed doubles, you know, it was a little bit of chaos. And he had the perfect
that's what he wants, right?
Yeah, the perfect chaos partner with Annalie Waters. And not that Tyson can't play that game, but probably a little more structured and a little more controlled in his game. And also some of the things that I saw that Jack was doing, pretty spectacular in mixed, but I knew it wouldn't be quite that easy in men's. We only got to see one match, so, you know, of course I didn't expect that, but I would have been shocked if they would have medaled had they got through that first round anyway with just some of the game style of men's doubles.
Yeah, so my prediction was quarter semi beforehand. I thought he would go semis and mixed, and I still think that's where he should have lost to Julian and Viv, but Julian, for whatever, like, got scared or
too much respect.
Some of these guys showed, like, fucking Jimmy Ignatovich showed him way too much respect. Like, look, you got to get a shot. Like,
I know. It was silly.
Play the guy. I didn't like it. Silly. It bothered me. It was just like, come on, it's just a guy. Yeah. So, you know, credit to Jack. I definitely think his game style, similar to mine in a sense. Like, you have a good drive, you're a tennis guy. The mixed is easier. You don't have to dink and have as much craft and be as patient to get the guy in front of you. You can just kind of nub it to the girl and you're going to get another look. But undoubtedly, I mean, I think even in the tennis world, I put him as like a top 5 athlete. He's probably 6'3", 215, and is so fucking explosive. It's frightening.
His first step's crazy.
It's crazy. Like, he's so smooth to move, and the way he allows himself to not even hit a backhand dink. He just runs around forehand, and then somehow covers the middle quick, like real quick, is something I don't think we've ever seen. Like, obviously Riley's really athletic. Riley looked pedestrian athletically next to that guy. Yeah. So then, of course, his hand speed's really good. He's got soft hands. Like, he has every attribute to be disgusting, to take the game to a new level. But in playing the rec games with him, like, I came off thinking, yeah, of course, he's super explosive, a lot of great shots, but he doesn't really know how to dink yet, certainly off the backhand wing. And you're going to have that in the men's, or it's going to be exposed. And it did get exposed by those two dudes. They played great, but the game plan was pretty clear. If you can make him hit 3, 4, 5 dinks in a row, you're probably in good shape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's the surprising part that, you know, I thought we could see more of in mixed was why are I mean, it's tough to make in-game adjustments too, but like, why aren't guys dinking more like kind of middle to Jack and then trying to go behind him to get the ball on the ground to his backhand dink? Because I think the 1 or 2 backhand dinks I saw him hitting mixed, he missed both of them.
He didn't make many of them.
Get it there. Yeah, he just couldn't get it there, so it was tough. But
anyone else? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I also think it's a pretty huge testament to what Anna Lee can do with almost any partner, right?
It's right. That's what I'm going to say. It's like they went to him early and he was missing. And then when he started to play better, they went to her, and she's better at creating offense than he was. You know, she can fade at line, and she's so accurate off the bounce. and hitting the shit out of the ball off the bounce. You'd think in your head, like, those are going long or she's going to miss. No, they're not. Like, she's that good. And so, I saw someone put out, like, how many people could she win mixed with? I got it at like 15. Like, there's 15 guys, in my opinion, she's win mixed with. It's really high.
I think
she's good.
Yeah, one of the choices was 9+. I was like, let's up that number maybe.
Right,
like 15 plus.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like, even the force she creates off of shake and bake. Like, most girls, you do a shake and bake, you hit the forehand, you hit it good, the ball's up, they don't put the ball away. Like, they bake, it's great, good job. But we're still, the point's still going. With her, it's over. It's ending. Yeah. And I mean, it's nasty.
Yeah, on her crash, like that was what was so impressive. On her crash, she's putting that. She's not just crashing and just banging it. She's like placing it in really tight spots.
That's what was surprising to me in rec. Like, she juked me a couple times, and I couldn't believe how accurate she was with force. And then she had some craft. She has this little forehand fade where she kind of shows you middle, but then she cuts it line out of the air and off the bounce. And it was just like, man, this girl's hit a lot of pickleballs. Like, she's really. And she's a great athlete. Whatever anyone says, like, I've had this question the other day. If she was to be a tennis player, do you think she's a top 10 potential player? I do. I honestly do. I think she's striking the ball so cleanly with that little paddle. If you did put a racket in her hand, she's probably a top 10 caliber athlete.
Yeah, like if she trains how she's trained for pickleball since she was at a young age, you think she'd be that good.
No, she's one of the best players in the world for sure.
Yeah, and I think it gets lost sometimes. To touch on what you said, Travis, because with the shot making, her court coverage is ridiculous. And to be able to poach with the two-handed backhand, and I've never seen her like reaching. Like, that's the issue with the two-handed backhand is the reach, especially if you're poaching, and she can whip it cross court, go middle, and hit it cleanly hard with power inside out as well. All the spots.
Both directions. It's very hard to read her.
Yes, very, very impressive. We talk about her all the time, and you have to, because every tournament she just brings it again. So kudos to her, and way to carry that top 5 athlete, Annalie Waters.
I mean, back to men's real quick, because obviously, if men's is a different beast, more nuanced, you have to be able to have all the shots, or you get exposed pretty quick. The surprise to me, and looking back, maybe it's not such a surprise, was I don't think I've ever seen a match where Tyson pressed that hard and made that many errors. Was that surprising?
Yeah, I guess so. I think he saw the pattern. Maybe it was, I don't know. A tough one for me to answer at the moment. I think that he saw the pattern wasn't going to work in his favor if Jack kept dinking. So maybe he felt like as soon as he had the opportunity, he had to push it, maybe try to create some organized chaos. And he was, a little nervous. Like, there was one ball early where the guy had to drive out and he just like shanks it off the side of the paddle. Like, if he has tight. That's just a nervous moment.
Yeah, and there is a little pressure on him, given the 2 previous days from Jack. Making the championship Sunday.
100%.
And I think you're exactly right, Travis. It was probably a combination of worried a little bit about Jack's dinking and knowing he has an explosive guy who likes the attacks and the hand speed going. So I think he was a little out of his comfort zone with that strategy, and I think what you said makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's, that's a nice.
Should we stay on the Tyson subject?
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead, Robert. Jump in there.
Just a nice smile from Travis. So, Travis, obviously,
you're real diplomatic, apparently.
Yeah.
You guys played a Red Rock. Pat, you complained about the paddle. I believe the paddle got tested and it came back hot. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And how's everything played out since that moment in terms of?
I'm going to be real diplomatic here because I'm fucking. Yeah. Anyway, and I'm going to tell the truth too, so don't worry about that. But basically, the rules have changed, and here's my objective. Like, it's been funny because Selkirk was pissed at me for saying that it was a different paddle. Okay, that's not what I was implying. I was implying that companies all over can, in theory, create a paddle and market as anything that they want. And, this is an issue in pickleball that's going to happen. It's going to take place and needs to be monitored. Part 2 is that I knew the paddle was hot right away by the sound, the way the ball was coming off, and he continued to play with it for 7-8 minutes more and ended up hitting forehands that I don't care how live your arm is, you don't hit those forehands in pickleball. It's not possible.
Yep.
So that was the issue. So after game 1, I went to the referee and said I would like to challenge the paddle. Maybe I could have used the verbiage, I want that paddle tested, which is like the disputing moment. Anyway, so I talked to Connor Pardo about this. He was great, very transparent, got to give him credit. And he said that basically the head referee is stating that I did not challenge the paddle during the match. Ludicrous. 100% happy.
I think we all saw it. We all saw it.
Well, like that's what I told him. I was like, I didn't go over to him to ask him what he was having for dinner that night.
Right.
Like I went over to him to say, hey, paddle's hot. And his words to me were, you have to challenge at the end of the match. Okay. So I challenged again. And Tyson was honest. Like he put down the paddle at the end of the match. Hey, I'm sorry about that. Obviously something was wrong with the paddle. It delaminated. It was hot, whatever. I was like, hey, I get that. All good, but I'm still going to challenge. Okay. So, maybe a dick move on my part a little bit, but like for me, it had nothing to do with my result. Although I felt like if the rules were in place appropriately, that he should have been defaulted. What it was more about was Tyson's obviously the biggest name in the sport at the moment. And if you contest his paddle, then it moves this protocol forward rapidly. And that was my objective. And from Connor's mouth, he credited me with that. He's like, look, we were moving at a snail's pace on this. Once you did that, we had to go faster. We had no choice. Correct. Yeah. So, I've gotten some backlash for it, some heat for it, but I knew what I was doing was going to move the needle quicker. And I still think the testing protocol is a little shitty. I think they have it wrong. The barometer, the number that they have in place it's stupid. It's like some magic guy just came down.
For deflection?
Yeah. For example, Salome's paddle in Red Rock Pass, the one she played Leo with.
Yeah.
There's no chance that paddle should be passing. Yeah. The paddle I played against this weekend with Matt Wright, there's zero chance that paddle should pass. But it does, because they have some metric that's like a 1.05, or I can't tell you the exact number, but it's way too hot. So if you're gonna have the appropriate speed off the paddle, then you need to find a different number that's appropriate to keep the game in the place that it is, or else it's just gonna get scary. It's gonna get to the point where people are wearing protective eyewear. And, in a cold weather, like you could literally blind somebody or hit them in the nose, break their nose. It's stupid. And it ruins the game, in my opinion. Like you can't have an overhead from the kitchen line and the ball's going 120 miles an hour. It needs to stay around 80. And if it gets to that point, which I think is where it's at now, that's good. Like you have rallies and people getting, out of shitty situations, and that's fun. If it gets too fast, it's not fun anymore.
Yep.
So anyway, go ahead.
No.
Hey, go ahead.
Yes. Go ahead, Adam, you go.
So I was just going to mention that I agree completely with Travis in terms of not fun anymore, not the game that I started playing 6 or 7 years ago, but how about for just full-fledged growth and viewership of random people? What do you say about that? And so it's kind of a yin and yang, a kind of contrast there, because I totally agree. I wish everyone played with the Pro Light with no grit and whatever else, and we had these crazy points, but that's never going to happen, and no one wants to watch that who doesn't know blocks and resets and dinks. So
Matt obviously chirps a lot, right? And we got into it during the match a little bit, and I challenged his paddle, even though I knew his paddle was going to pass. I just did it to kind of be a prick, and just to make a point, like if this thing passes, then something's wrong. So I actually went up and talked to him afterwards. He was cool. We have no problems. Just want to be really clear about that. In fact, it was really good banter. But, in his words, it's like when I first started playing, I thought that the game needs to get faster for better viewership. I've retracted that statement. Like I'm wrong. I was wrong. I think the game needs to stay where it is for better viewership. It creates craft. It creates interest. It creates long points, which anytime you have a long point, if you're at a match, that's when the crowd, oh, wow. So you don't want to get rid of that. And I think as soon as it gets too fast, you ruin that. And Matt was kind of still under the previous version. Like, well, in order for the television, viewership to get better, the game needs to speed up. Again, don't agree necessarily. And I think that's what he was insinuating. And so it's a very fine line, because if it gets too fast, then obviously no good for rec. And ultimately, the more people that play, the more money we all make, the more interest there is. So I think it's going to hopefully stay not quite at the Pro Light level there, Adam, but 02 is a fine number for me.
Sure.
Yeah, I think we're at a speed right now, as long as it doesn't go too much faster, that we get the balance. Like we're not having like these 100+ dink rallies, right? The points are still relatively short. You get into solid dink rallies, but the speed ups are coming pretty quick. So it's not like this doldrum of a match where it's just, all dinks. That's just not the case anymore. And I think if we go, like you're saying, Travis, if we do speed it up even faster, like the points we're going to be talking like what tennis turned into, which is a big serve and a big forehand, the point's over.
Yeah,
and
definitely don't want
it's
that.
super boring.
So boring.
So,
yeah. So anyway, the back to the Tyson thing real quick. And then I don't think it's Tyson's fault. I don't like some of the commentary posts because I'm a pretty transparent guy. Even if it gets me in trouble, I will be honest. And I think it was pretty fucking clear that I challenged the paddle. I think it was very clear after the match from the referees that I challenged the paddle as I sat in the referee's booth for 30 minutes. And the interesting part to me is, again, I have nothing to gain here. Like, there's no benefit to me. There wasn't paddle testing on site, so they couldn't advance me forward. I don't care if Tyson loses his points or prize money. It means absolutely nothing to me. But what does matter is the truth. And for them to proclaim that I didn't challenge the paddle when it was so obvious that I did, that bothers me. Like, I want honesty.
Yeah.
And I told this to Connor. I said, look, it's bad optics. It looks like you guys are sweeping this under the rug because it's Tyson, and then Sarah Ansbury gets kicked in the balls.
Still looks like that, to be honest.
Still looks like, and he knew, and he recognized it right away. He's like, I know, and I do not want that. But to his credit, again, the head referee is legitimately saying Travis did not officially challenge the paddle. It's like, okay, well, my man, what was I doing in the referee's office for 30 minutes, hearing two referees tell me, like, oh, sorry, we can't advance you because the show must go on. We don't have paddle testing. But if this paddle comes back hot, then he loses his points and prize money. And that obviously didn't happen. So it's a bad look for them.
I was going to say, why did it not happen? Because if you, like, let's look at tennis, for example, and something was deemed illegal during a match after the fact, and tennis, would they retroactively go back and that match would be defaulted and prize money defaulted? Is that how it worked?
And generally what would happen, so like, let's say that I had lost Tyson, I would go to semi. I don't get to advance further, but I get semis points. So I move ahead, and he loses his points and prize money. So they give me that one match. They don't give me the others because I didn't play them. But that takes, and again, I don't give a shit whether it's quarters or semis points. I care less. Sure. What I care about is, one, that the protocol is in place, and two, that people are honest about what transpired. I think Connor is trying to do that, and actually, which is, maybe contrarian to my normal views, I think they're doing a really good job of attempting to put the correct protocols in place and taking it step by step, because I think it's a difficult problem. I think it's something that you can't just figure out right away because there's so many moving parts and there's so many companies that are doing things from a manufacturing process. But I really do think that they are on their way to putting something in place. MLP in particular is also making great strides here to ensure that this stays legal and that this is a fair playing field for everyone. So, I wish there was a little bit more accountability and honesty in this particular topic, but I don't think we're going to see it.
Okay. What do you feel like is?
Oh, sorry. Go, Rob.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, what do you feel like is the answer in terms of paddle testing? Like, is it getting these paddles tested before and after every match? I mean, it's so cumbersome. And then you look at like the amateur game, it's going to be impossible to regulate that. So it just feels like we have a very nuanced system in terms of paddle legality. Is what we're doing the correct answer, or is there something more widespread that would cover all the bases?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question, and I don't have the answer to it. I wish I did. I've kind of pondered this one for a little bit. I've heard a lot of quote unquote solutions, but I don't think any of them are the appropriate solution. One that I heard that I thought was interesting, like everyone plays with the same paddle. Yeah, you do that, but you still have the same issue. It looks like the same paddle, but I can go in my fucking garage here and manipulate it. So you're still not solving the issue. So I don't have the answer for that. I don't know what it is. What I will say, and this is just to be a little bit more diplomatic, but it's also the truth. I think Selkirk has like the lowest defection rate of any company. So they were pissed at me, and my rebuttal was like, look, if there's more protocol in place, it's a benefit for you. Companies that have a 30% defective rate now have to change their entire manufacturing process. You guys just keep it as is, the status quo. So why the fuck is what I'm saying a detriment to you? Shitting on your company, as you claim, which has been good to me. They supported me for a year now. But with that said, the more protocol in place, if you are above water and you are doing things correctly, it is good for you. If you are doing, and look, any company that I represent at this point, I'd tell them straight, like, if you fuck up and if you are cheating and I know it, I will say something. Like, your money doesn't buy my silence. That is fact. And it's always going to be that way.
Love it. So, yeah, I love that too. So, Travis, what was that ref having for dinner?
Apparently like scallops, or maybe he had some fucking corn dogs. I don't know, man.
Corn dogs.
He went from seared scallops to corn dogs. That's
Well,
a wide range.
Point, right? It was a wide variety because he wasn't telling me shit. All he told me was to challenge after the match, which made no sense to me.
Okay, well, you have already used this word once in the podcast, so let's talk a little bit about it. And the word is chirping. So would you say, I think you're obviously one of the best at it. You enjoy that back and forth. And from what I've seen, I don't think rebuttal or someone starting it with you really affects your play. And I think that's the key to being a good chirper, is when they chirp back, it doesn't affect you. It only affects them. So that's pretty positive. So is this just kind of a constant thing? Do you have a couple people you pick on? Do you like the Matt Wright stare in your eyes and say something, or maybe the Pablo say it just to where they can hear it kind of situation? Tell us a little bit about the chirping, because I know you're one of the best.
So for me, I honestly, like, everyone thinks I do it to get in the other guy's head. Like, people have said that to me. Even Deakin was saying it has nothing to do with the other guy, at least for me. For me, it's just I'm a lot looser and having more fun when I'm talking shit. Like, that's just how I'm at my best. And so definitely if I see it's getting to somebody, like I think it got to Jimmy and Tyler this weekend, then it's coming. More is coming. But usually it's just to kind of loosen me up and make me feel a little bit more, whatever, machismo, brash, whatever you want to say. The one thing that I fucking hate that I have to say, but this is true, is I felt, even though we were down, I had like 8 hands battles with Matt. I'm going to say I was up 6-2. He'd probably deny that, but that's what it was. And all of a sudden he wins one and he's like, yeah, 9-2 me or something like that. I was like, ridiculous. One, your paddle is so hot and you are not even close to a head. And then sure enough, after he started talking, I started pressing probably like 3 or 4 in a row and just got absolutely shit on. So that was like the first time where the back and forth did not work in my favor. He beat me out, and credit to him. Like, he shit talked appropriately and he won that war.
Yeah. And I respect that you do that for you, but I have a feeling that Matt is the complete opposite, and he does it for them. So there's no question about that. And here's another question. I know that you obviously the co-owner of the Florida Smash, and you live down in Florida, so you have a nice relationship with JW Johnson. Nice kid, maybe his partner, an even nicer kid. Do you think Riley and Matt, what they do, how they go about it, how they chirp, do you think that affects the kids' play and some of these recent matchups?
I would have said no until I saw how bad JW played in this final, because he was playing insane. He played so well in the semis, quarters, even when in mixed, I was pretty hobbled. I had this little hip thing, side note, but he was so fast and so good. It's like, shit, this guy's playing unbelievable, seeing it like a grapefruit. And so I don't know if it was like a one-off that he just played poorly, but what I watched in Newport, and I thought this is just a praise for Georgia Johnson, because I'm a fan and I love her. I think she's awesome. But he was being Matt, he was letting it fly and doing all his things. And they were down, I would say Georgia was down like 6-3 or 6-4 in the third game, she and JW. And there's a ball that's disputed. JW calls it out. We all know JW doesn't hook. He calls it out. And Matt questions it, but Georgia wasn't sure. And she literally was like, and gave him the point. And I was like, man, like, class. Fucking this girl's 16 and she has it figured out way better than me and everybody else. Because it just, so I don't think it affects her, to be honest. I think she just plays and she's worried about how she handles herself. It might affect JW a little bit more, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really react, so you don't really know. So I know you know him better than most, so that's kind of what I was kind of prying at. But yeah, I mean, they're so even keeled, no ups, no downs. So it's hard to know what's really going on in that brain. But I have to feel like occasionally, from time to time, some of the mouthy stuff can kind of snowball on the kids and kind of get them down a little bit. But of course, that's speculation on my part.
Yeah,
I like seeing. I mean, for me, it's really hard to chirp at somebody that just like one's like a child, and two is not like giving you anything back. They're like just nice, pleasant people, and you see like Riley like hitting a put away, then like going to the net, like staring them down, talking, chirping, asking for the ball back. It's like the balls and like the ability to do that to a kid that's just like a pleasant, nice kid is just next level. And
I've actually always played terrible against JW, always, because the guy gives me nothing. And I like him. I played awful against him every time. I'm always like, hey, great shot. You're playing so good. Good job.
Yeah, right.
Nice.
He's a nice boy.
Yeah, and I always have a lot of respect. I've said this on the broadcast before for any of the kids in these big spots, any of the teenagers, because I was a disaster. I mean, a disaster when I was 16, 18, 20 years old. So these big spots, this added pressure, I know maybe they're kids, they don't realize it as much or it's not as tangible, but at the same time, a lot of these kids are handling themselves nicely. They have good demeanors. They're respectful, and they're not letting these kind of big moments get to them. So I have a lot of respect for that, because if I was in the same boat at 16 or 17, I would collapse, and there's no question about it.
Fair enough.
Well, saying no highs and no lows. I would say the one thing that impresses me, and I think this does matter in terms of ceiling, is Georgia visibly, to me, just wants it. One, she's having fun out there. She's smiling, but she's very fiery. And I think you need that fire in terms of getting to the next level. And the one thing I do worry about with J-Dub is that he doesn't want it bad enough and doesn't show the fire. And so just looking at the two of them, I have to give the edge to Georgia in terms of ceiling based on her demeanor on court and how it just appears that she is really hungry.
Yeah, she got a lot of juice. Don't let the demeanor fool you. She's got a lot of juice.
Yeah. Do you think J-Dub's demeanor affects him in terms of what he does often look bored, looks disinterested? Yeah. Does that affect
I think so a little bit. Again, like you said, I watched Georgia bouncing around. Like literally when we were playing her in mixed, there was a timeout. They're killing us. I think they got like a game in 5-2, and she's literally hopping like side to side. And it was like, man, this girl's having the time of her life. Like, this sucks. This sucks because she's having so much fun and we're just getting routed here.
Yeah.
And yeah, J-Dub's just stoic. I do think, like if you look at any other sport, even the ones who are really tempered and quiet, you occasionally get to see a roar or even a moment of like pure anger. I don't know if he has that in him. I think this is a circumstance where he's just exceptionally, really, really good at something. And maybe that kind of competitive nature isn't natural for him. Yeah. It obviously is for Georgia because, in playing with her, like she will look me square in the eye and scream directly in my face when we play mixed if things aren't the way she wants them to be. Or if they are, or if they're going correct. She's got a lot of juice. So yeah, I think it does prohibit him from being the best player in the world, which I think he's certainly capable of being.
All right. So I have one more JW question, and this is also speculation and pretty funny if it's true. So I heard that at MLP1, you, co-owner of the Florida Smash, JW was the first round pick. And so often we have a group text going on after the guy gets picked to talk about who he would like to partner with. And I think that I heard that someone said something, what about Travis Rettenmaier? Should we draft Travis Rettenmaier? And J-Dub said, no, don't draft him. And you were actually on the text thread. Is that true, Travis?
I think it was a family thing. I don't think it was just JW, but yeah, that's partially true from what I can say, without throwing them under the bus too much. But it all worked out smoothly, and I didn't take anything to it. Like I didn't blame them. Nobody knew me, and
sure,
like if I was, I'd played like 2 tournaments at that point. Like I don't want that guy. I want someone I know.
Hey,
so nothing, no sweat off. No sweat for me.
Pretty dang funny story though, and you kind of have to have a chuckle at it. I mean, you had played two tournaments at that time, and Travis, I mean, I've had a long career. I'm retired now. You've had a pretty short career, but there's been a couple times where I have been the highlight for you. Let's see, beating myself and DJ isn't a huge win or anything, but it was one of your first kind of bigger wins. Yes, at the moment, sure. and Punta Gorda. And then also we had MLP Columbus where, I don't know, 12 or 13 out of 16 singles points you destroyed me on.
That was unfair, though. I mean, the poor guy couldn't move. I hit a lob, for Christ's sake.
Either way, a lob in singles. Either way, I just wanted to say that I'm very happy now in my retirement to have propelled you a little bit into your pickleball journey. You're welcome so much, Travis.
Yeah, I appreciate that, buddy. Thanks for the comments.
So good. Okay, so we talked about some nice juicy stuff there, and I like that. But let's get to just a couple questions that the viewers really like. So, what is your standard practice crew and one of your routine in terms of drilling and rec play and things like that?
That's comical. So mine is probably a little unconventional.
Okay.
I spend far more time working out or in the gym just simply because where I am, which I'm going to still state is the best community for pickleball in the world, which is St. Pete. Crescent Lake is the center of the universe to me, but we don't have a lot of great players. We have the majority 5-0, maybe 4 guys like that. And then we got one monster in Austin Chikaitalov who I get to drill with a fair bit. But really my practice partner is Graham. And for those of you that know me know that Graham is usually my shadow, and we do pretty much everything together, at least pickleball related. So, I would say I work out probably 6 days a week for about an hour and a half, whether that's at the gym on my own. But I've started working with Connor Derrickson. For those of you that don't know him, he was Captain Parento's trainer for a long time. I think they're still working together. He lives about a mile from me, and the guy is fucking awesome. Like, so professional, very structured. I've noticed a difference right away in my body, how I'm feeling. But from a drilling perspective, I take Graham out there 2 or 3 days a week. We drill for about an hour. I'm not a great driller. I want to play games, and I don't even mean it like 2-on-2 games, but if it's head to head, okay, it's a dink game, first guy to attack. Probably why my dinking is suspect, because I just don't like doing it. But I just try to take out the buddies that I have and make the most of it. And then I get a lot of flack for this, but it's been the best thing that I ever did. Is some pros will ask me you go out and play rec games? Yeah, I go out and play rec games all the time. I went and did it last night, and I play for about an hour and a half. The average player is probably like a 4.0 to 4.5. It's not high level pickleball by any means, but these are the people that told me to go play, supported me when I was shit, when I had no interest in going to play pickleball. And I take a lot of pride in the fact that I always go back there. I always play with them. I put my paddle in the rack just like anybody else, and we duel, and we battle, and we have fun, and we talk shit, and that's the way it is. And I'm cool with that. Of course, I wish there were some better players around, but I like the fact that I'm just a part of this pickleball community, and that they've embraced me and pushed me forward as much as they have.
Well, that's a fantastic answer there, Travis. I like that a lot. Giving back, taking and giving back. This is full circle.
Oh, I take a lot more. Definitely.
Take a lot. Well, I have seen a couple.
I'm in debt.
Yeah, I have seen a couple pictures of you and Chikaitalov at the gym, and kind of look similar to me and Rob at the gym. Same body types. Real similar stuff.
Same weight. Same. Yeah, exactly. Did you see the one with Graham by chance? That was a really.
I did not see that. I saw you flexing. I saw you flexing. It's pretty legit.
Graham's in there. Graham's in there. Trust me. You got to see his flex. Incredible.
Okay,
stuff.
Good.
Amazing. Yeah.
Good. But yeah, it's a common theme to some of our guests, and some of the chatter that I've been having is a balance between gym work and court work, and there's a lot of bending and lunging, a lot of long days.
Sure.
You can't have dips with with the talent that's out there, and if you are even 2% tired, that's a big deal. So getting in the gym almost as important as being on court. So that's good to see you kind of balancing it out.
Yeah, I'm figuring out what the balance is.
Yeah.
Couple cues here, Travis. So on when you are playing at is Crescent Lake, right?
Yes, sir.
So when you're playing at Crescent Lake and you're playing the 4.0, 4.5s, how are you going into that? Because often when you're playing kind of lower level players, you can get into making some, creating some bad habits, speeding stuff up that you shouldn't speed up all the time. How do you go into that rec play? Do you just try to stay disciplined, say, I'm going to just stay soft this game? What's the thought process there?
I wish I was that analytical about it, but mostly it's just having fun, just getting some touches and feeling the ball. Yeah, just playing. And then generally I don't take over much. I'll let the guy to my right or to my left play. We usually play it normal. We don't stack, just play it normal. And then I always tell them I don't sit, because we have a lot of people waiting. If you lose, you have about an hour wait. So I'll tell the person hey, if we're down 7-5, hey, you're not touching the ball again.
God, I can't sit.
Yeah, I'm not waiting. I'm not sitting down for an hour.
I mean, you're almost 40. You're almost 40. You can't wait.
I can't wait. I'll stiffen up. Trust me. Yeah, guys are getting litty titty on the side. We don't need to crack open the first beer. I just want to get this done and get out of here. So no, but a lot of times if I want more longer rallies, I'll tell whoever I'm playing with. And I play with Graham a lot because he just kind of will go with the flow of what I want to do, I'll say, okay, we're only dinking this game. Like, I don't care if the ball's nipple level, like reset it. Let's try to get some rallies. Or he'll just basically say, like, I'll hit the serve and get off and we play. And then every now and then guys let me play 1-on-2, you know, so like every now and then I'll come in and just be like, all right, 2-on-1, let's go, which is actually easier for me in this particular context because nobody touches the ball but me. But that's pretty much how I do it. It's fun. Yeah, I enjoy it.
No, it's super fun. And speaking of, you just opened that one up, Travis, for 2-on-1. Yeah. So, I mean, dude, I just personally, it was one of the most, I think it'd be the most viewed thing ever. So what happened with it, with the NML 2-on-1 thing?
Quick summary. It wasn't their fault. It was on me. November, December kind of when this all started. And obviously tournaments are kind of tapering down at that point. Seemed like there was a lot more time. I was really adamant. We had a spot here in Florida called Ferg's Sports Bar, which is the largest sports bar in Florida, that was going to host it, build a court. Like, we were on track for that exact. And we're like, this is going to be awesome. We're going to have all of our peoples around. People are going to get hammered. We're going to sell tickets. We're going to have broadcasting. We had Fox News come out and interview. We're like, okay, we are good. And then we got the word, which we should have done our due diligence earlier, that you can't gamble like that in the state of Florida. It's not allowed. Like, if you do it, which I already have enough problems, you're going to walk out in handcuffs and be in an orange jumpsuit 12 hours later. And say, fuck, really?
It's good PR.
I don't need more of that.
Travis Rettenmaier brand skyrocketing after that.
Jesus, could you imagine? Yeah, I got enough problems, bro. So,
we're gonna dig into that next.
Great, fantastic. So we basically were starting to look for another venue around. We were looking at New Orleans, and they were really adamant. We want to do this within a month. We want to do this within 25 days. And I was like, my man, like, chill out. I'm not doing this at a park with 8 people watching. That's not happening. Yeah. So, like, if this happens and when this happens, this will be done appropriately. We're going to have someone who plans events like this, and we're going to get tickets, and we're going to get people streaming and watching, and whether that's whatever platform is going to do that, that's how we're going to do it. And then, of course, the season kind of started, and it's overwhelming. Like, you're traveling every week. You're home for 10 days. For me, the days that I'm home, which is less, which is generally about a week, like, I'm dad. You know, I got to be dad now. So it just fell off my priority list. And once the Florida thing kind of took place, it was like, shit, this is going to take a lot of effort to put this together appropriately. And I wasn't in the place to do it. So it just kind of fell on the back burner. Now, when the season kind of slows down again, maybe it picks back up. Maybe we can get this going again, but I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, it would be highly viewed.
I know. It sucks, man. Like, I'd love to do it because I think I'd route the guys, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're gonna do it, you're absolutely right. You have to make it an event. It can't be you know, a couple 4-0s at the local park watching.
Well, and that's what they kept saying. Like, let's do it at a park. It was like, why would I do that?
No.
Like, the money. Sure, the money is interesting. I get that, but this should be something that people are interested in and view. And that's the point of this.
It's a pretty high stakes game for a local park. I mean,
although Crescent would fill, I guarantee you.
Yeah, a little bit different than my practice in St. George, Utah, in my early years where we were playing dollar games. Little bit different. A couple extra
dollar
zeros
games.
on. Yeah, a couple extra zeros on there.
Yeah.
So speaking, I think we're all in the same age bracket, right? I'm late 30s, Adam 40, late 30s.
41.
I'm almost there.
41. So what's for you, Travis? Looking at kind of where you're at right now with life, being a dad, being a pickleball player, and kind of looking forward to the next like 5-10 years, how do you see this all playing out for you? Like, do you want to keep playing through the 40s? Like, what are you looking at?
I'd like to play. I really enjoy playing. You know, it's a challenging question because of my stake in MLP, and as a Florida Smash owner, there's conflict of interest there, which is obviously an issue that will be addressed at some point. And I'm going to have to make that decision of whether I, potentially don't play or retain my shares or how that's going to work. But, I was pretty adamant with myself when I stopped my previous job that no matter what, I was going to maintain my position in pickleball. This was going to be where my life went. And I don't exactly know what that entails. I kind of did it blindly. It was just on blind faith that, this is something I really enjoy. I'm no longer chasing monetary gain, although there's been some and it's been nice, but the objective of this was never like, I want to profit substantially and I want to be fucking rich. Like, I didn't really care about that at this point. What I wanted was just to enjoy what I was doing. And I really enjoy playing. I enjoy what pickleball does for the people that are in my community that are around me. I want to kind of alter the fabric of pickleball. So we're actually opening up a facility here called St. Pete Athletic Club. That's an indoor facility that's 16 courts, a padel court, ping pong. Like my objective is that St. Pete is a insane pickleball destination where all the homies that I've been playing with since the beginning go and have beers and play fucking pickleball, and they bring their kids. And like, if that's my next 30 years, then I did really good.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
No, that's great. And I can't describe to everyone at home enough how big a deal it is to be 22 and have nothing to do. Like, I have so much respect for the Travises out there, and what we talk about Matt Wright with the skill set in his mid 40s, but I'm talking about just life. Life gets in the way. So to have a balanced life and to be a pro pickleball player when you're playing James Ignatowicz, who plays 14 hours a day and has nothing else to do, that's a big deal. So I know personally kind of how that is, and so just wanted to say, some of those older players, a lot of respect to them, not just physically on the court, but what they have to go through to be relevant in this moment right now. 3 or 4 years ago, a little bit different. You could get away with it. Now it's a big deal. It's a big deal when you don't have that time. So just wanted to shed some light on that for the viewers at home, what some of these guys and gals are going through.
I own Jimmy.
I own Jimmy. Attaboy. Love that.
I love Jimmy, so I can say it, but I do. I own Jimmy. I know where he's going.
No, he's fun, and he's got a nice vibe about him. So
he sure does, man. Very self-deprecating, comical. Sure. Like, he actually walked by me when he lost the back draw. And I was like, Jimmy, how'd it go? I'm just going to teach from now on. I'm terrible. He's like, I'm just going to teach. Sweet.
That's right.
Just an instant reaction. So I was like Jimmy.
Yeah, for sure.
Travis, just Deacon's still underrated, man. That dude's playing some good ball. He's playing good ball. Great. And he's not getting, I don't think he's getting enough credit for what he's doing out there. I mean, he's still steady as a rock, still has great hands, doesn't have a lot of the aggressive attacks, but that's what you're for, right? But he can clean up pretty well, and he stays there.
I mean, look, credit to him. And full disclosure, like full transparency, when we played in Mesa, we were so bad that I started getting offers from other people, and I was like, shit, I gotta think about this because fuck, man, we were so good. He played great, and I thought this was going to be a wash. Obviously he got dropped from Challenger League. He hadn't been playing much. Like, in my mind, it's like, all right, I made an error. The ship has sailed. It passed him by. He's a little too old. There's a lot of guys in this that are trying their ass off, playing a lot. But he played lights out in Charlotte. I mean, I think the whole day he maybe missed 2 or 3 backhand drops. Other than that, the backhand drop was in the kitchen every fucking time. Like, if the ball went back to him, I never even once thought, like, I got to hold back. He might float this. It was nutted. And then, he has a few things that he essentially can't do. Like, he's not rolling the ball exceptionally well from below the net. He doesn't have that kind of snap. But if you're just going cross-court dink rally, he's pretty steady, man. He's not going to really give you a lot. And his decision-making is very good. And, more than anything, like, I had a great time playing. He was a great partner, supportive, positive. Yeah. He was fun. Like, he was fucking awesome. And so, we're going to play a fair bit more for the rest of the year, and hopefully keep having those results, because it was fun to, just stick it to the young guys a little bit. Like, bronze medal match, we were playing Jay, who I love Jay. Like, I think he's a very gregarious, fun guy. And he's telling me how tired he was. Like, yeah, man, 28, you're tired, huh? Like, what? Ridiculous, absurd. But we were having fun. Steve played fantastic, especially in that match. So I think we can continue to do well.
Yeah. So I mean, I have a lot of experience with Steve too. I think your words hold true for me as well. So I mean, first off, let's just go through his nicknames because they're fun. Originally we had Steve Podium Deakin. I already mentioned the Canadian Beaver. We also have Canada's Finest, and I'm allowed to say this because we're both well endowed. But D-Cup Deakin, that's a pretty good one right there. So.
Whoa, okay, I got you. I was like,
well endowed, yes. I meant above the belt, not below the belt. So there you go. Yes, but yeah, I've had some great experience. Great partner. He's fun to fight with. He's fun to battle with. And it was very, very unfortunate because I had him lined up for a bunch of APPs, and 2022 maybe, and he had that wrist injury. So I didn't get to go to battle with him quite as much as I wanted to, but everything you said about Steve and my experience playing with him, I agree with.
Great guy, good player, getting no respect.
Yeah.
Speaking of Canada's finest, I was supposed to play with him in Atlanta, but he got the call up. He got the call up, dropped me, but not for another player. Dropped me to go to Toronto to throw out the first pitch of a Blue Jays game because he is Canada's finest.
Holy
so
shit.
Gotta respect that. That I mean,
good for him.
Yeah, it's so cool.
And a lot of people. Oh, go ahead, Rob.
Giving away 15,000 paddles at that game. 15,000 paddles. I don't know which company, but to get 15,000 paddles in the hands of people attending a baseball game is pretty dope.
Attaboy, cool. Steve. And a lot of people don't know. He had a very, very good tennis background. He was like Canadian champion a bunch of different years, and I don't quite know the full specifics, but he's got a pretty rock solid racket sports background as well.
Well, I'll tell you, Steve's most underrated shot, guy's forehand drive is money.
Mm-hmm,
he hits the shit out of that thing. It's a laser.
Right, and it's pretty much a forehand drive, backhand drop situation with Steve.
He's never ever hitting a backhand drive.
Right. Well, that
never hitting a forehand drop either.
Not very often.
No.
Not very often.
I got you.
That's what I meant. Yeah, that's what I meant. So, he's one of those guys that really doesn't go back and forth too much. It's backhand slice drop, forehand drive. So, and it works for him. It absolutely works for him. So, good stuff.
All right.
Adam, you got anything else?
I have a couple things I could dip into, but we're creeping on 50 minutes. What do you think, Travis? How's that grande splash of cream?
I got a few more for you. Go ahead.
Okay. I was just because I just a couple weeks ago I had a conversation via text with Anna Bright, and we were just talking about since the sport is so new, what a prototypical player would be like in 5 years in terms of physical skills, whether that's actual shot making, whether that's height and reach, and also what kind of perfect sports background or mesh between the two of, say, badminton, ping pong, tennis, whatever. What are kind of your thoughts? Because obviously there's tennis players with different styles, but they all kind of sort of look alike at the top, with in terms of just how they look physically and their strokes and things like that. You have a little more leeway with pickleball. What do you think, Travis?
I think definitely some ping pong would be nice. I think that's been proven with some of the guys who are having success that played it prior. But you're going to bet against a Federer body type. Like I'd take a Jack Sock body type. 6'3" is good. 6'2", 6'3", you have to be agile, super fast hands. But like I've advocated for this. I would love to see the guys who are like the top doubles players in the world, like a Joe Salisbury, not necessarily Rajiv. Rajiv's obviously silky smooth, but not the fastest guy ever. Joe is fast as fuck. Like the guy is so quick. So that skill set transferring over would be really interesting to me. Someone that's really at the top of the doubles game right now that's doing it with hand, speed, and craft. So, I think tennis background is always going to take precedent. That's always going to be the best background you can have. I think the unconventional is beneficial, but I think it also has a lot of cons as well. So, if you play a little ping pong and tennis is your primary and you serve and volley it a lot and you chip the ball and you have that kind of craft, that's always going to be the primary.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of been a battle, kind of how I think of it, as you were talking about the kind of unorthodox player who has some funk and some deception, but they struggle repeating their mechanics. So they have loose errors. So that's always kind of been a battle. And I always think about Bubba Zabindin, who would have, you probably don't know him, Travis, but he had a super funky game. He would hit crazy slow winners because of his deception, but also would randomly miss. So that's always kind of a battle. And Rob and I have also talked about, could there possibly be a height that is too tall? So reach is awesome, but is covering your body, bending, foot speed, kind of those things, does it kind of get to a point where it's actually a detriment being tall? So I kind of really like what you were saying of that 6'1" to 6'4" range and really athletic. I think that could really be kind of the type of player that kind of takes off as we move forward in the sport.
Yeah, plus you get too big, the target gets big. And as we know, a lot of these speed ups, we're just trying to hit the guy.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
You get a big body like Silverstrom in there, fast hands, but that's a big body.
Yeah.
My target doesn't have to be that good.
Yeah, big man, big target. And Anna and I also talked about where technique just absolutely crucial in tennis, and also very crucial in pickleball as well, but not quite so much. So we
less
were kind of,
technical for sure.
Yeah, so we were kind of talking about just some explosive fast twitch athlete who has a great first step and crazy hand speed and has enough technique to get by. So that's kind of what we settled on, possibly for the man or woman, where they're just that explosive fast twitch athlete, all the hand speed, all the foot speed, and just enough technique to be consistent enough to be successful.
I don't think we've seen great athletes yet on the women's side other than Anna Lee. That's coming, but it's amazing that we haven't seen that filter over quite yet. But once we do, and you have girls that were 100 WTA and are 28 years old, that's going to be very, very interesting. Yeah,
absolutely.
I haven't seen too much of Vivian Glosman yet, but just I think in terms of like prototypical, like what you would want from a female. I mean, I think she's pushing 6 foot, pretty tall.
5'11", yeah, she's big.
5'11", great reach, but also
really
good
fast hands.
Touch.
Yeah, very fast.
So thinking about what that, the ideal size and reach for a woman, I mean, that's got to be close to exactly what you want.
No question. I mean, I think especially in the doubles game, singles might vary a little bit different, but I was really impressed with her watching her for the brief time that I did. She was solid, but every time she got attacked, she got a paddle on it. I can't really answer that one because the girls that are really good right now, for the most part, are just steady Eddie, pretty solid. Like
right.
Anna's, like I always say, Anna's a neutral player in my opinion. She doesn't create a ton of offense, but she doesn't give you a lot to attack. She just kind of plays it. So, like seeing this Tyra Black play, who's obviously extremely athletic, hand skills aren't quite there yet. But if you give that athleticism and the hand skills and you match that up, do I think that kind of body type and that's probably going to win.
Yeah, and I think it's a big
good
deal.
Offense beats great defense. Period.
Yeah.
I don't care.
And I think it's a big deal. Also, just talking about the men to the women, going from like 5'5" or 5'6" to 5'10" is a huge deal. And I think those 3 or 4 inches for a guy that's 5'11", 6 foot up to 6'3" or 6'4", nice. It's a bonus. It's great, but to have that girl that's 5'10" plus is a huge deal, and I can really see that kind of being the body type that moves forward for the women.
Well, it's happened in women's tennis, right? I mean, you very rarely see women under 5'10".
Yeah, absolutely correct. So, fellas, creeping on the hour mark, might be a good time. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay. Hey, enjoyed it, Travis. That was good stuff. And
thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, hey. We've talked about your podcast and the title of it. Do you ever want a former tennis player who agrees with the title of your podcast? You give me a shout. I got a lot of old school pickleball information I'd love to share. So nice job, Travis, and we enjoyed it very much. Oh, also,
thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, last thing, Travis, just lots of help on pickleball journeys. You talked about your pickleball community, sponsors, any shout outs you want to make just in this last 30 seconds or so?
Oh man, it's Crescent Lake as a whole. There's like 30 that I have to run through, but Crescent Lake as a whole, all the people they know, we call them like the Crescent Lake OGs. I'll give like couple real quick ones. Like Paul Romero hooks me up with hotels. He helps me out left and right. Graham's been like my messiah. Like I can't stress enough how that guy kind of pulled me out of the fucking gutter and helped me rebuild my life. Helped me with an apartment. Helped me with getting it furnished when I was too low and too depressed to do anything. It's countless, man. Honestly, it's countless.
Okay, well, that's great. And, almost everyone in these pickleball journeys has plenty of help along the way. So that's cool to see you giving those shout outs and giving those people a little credit that helped you out. So great job, everyone. Maybe we'll run it back sometime, but good luck moving forward with some of your results. And we'll see you soon, I'm sure.
Thanks a lot, Crescent Lake.
Thanks, Travis.
Boys.
Later, guys.
Later, guys.
Because you know why?
Why?
Because it feels right.
It feels right.
Legendary.